So, welcome back. We're going to put a Quran review series on hold for a while, put the satanic manuscript that is the Quran on ice, and we're actually going to start a new series on this channel called WallahiLeaks! WallahiLeaks, brother! Wallahi! Takbir! Alhamdulillah! Yes, WallahiLeaks. In in this new series, we're going to look at the Islamic literature and what the Islamic scholars have written over the past few centuries, and we're going to find some nuggets of funny information, some interesting bits, and some hilarious bits that expose Islam for what it is, just a collection of nonsensical stories and bits of different religions all mishmashed together into what we know today as Islam. Some of this information will not be known to many Christians or Muslims or anybody really. And yeah, the first episode is going to be on Paul, the Apostle Paul, Paul of Tarsus. Now, Muslims reject Paul. Paul's a liar, brother. Paul is a liar. He lied. He invented Christianity, brother. Paul just made up a lot of stuff, brother. You should not call yourselves Christians. You should call yourselves Paulinians instead, brother, because you follow Paul. Paul's a liar, and Christianity is full of lies because Paul's a liar. Alhamdulillah. And so on and so forth. But what they actually don't know, or they pretend that it doesn't exist, is that Paul is mentioned in Islamic literature as a messenger of Islamic Jesus. What are we talking about here? Well, let's dive straight into it. Let's go to the Quran. This is Surah Yasin 36, and we're going to start with verse number 13. So this is again Allah talking. And present to them an example, the people of the city, when the messengers came to it. When we sent to them two, but they denied them. So we strengthened them with a third, and they said, Indeed, we are the messengers to you. They, the people, said, You are not but human beings like us, and the Most Merciful has not revealed a thing. You are only telling lies, brother. They said, the messengers, Our Lord knows we are messengers to you, and we are not responsible except for clear notification. They, the people, said, Indeed, we consider you a bad omen. If you do not desist, we will surely stone you, and they will surely touch you from us a painful punishment. They, the messengers, said, Your omen is with yourselves. Is it because you were reminded? Rather, you are transgressing people. And there came to them from the farthest end of the city a man running. He said, O my people, follow the messengers. Follow those who do not ask of you any payment, and they are rightly guided. And why should I worship he who created me, and to whom you will be returned? Should I take, other than him, false deities, while, if the Most Merciful intends for me some adversity, their intercession will not avail me at all, nor can they save me? Indeed, I would then be in manifest error. Indeed, I have believed in your Lord, so listen to me. So, simple story here. Two messengers, followed by a third, came to a city, and people rejected them. But one smart man, he came running, and he gave a diatribe to those people and told them to listen to the messengers. So Allah confirms that these are his messengers, and they came with his message. So who are these messengers that Allah is speaking about? Well, the Quran doesn't say. Like always, Quran doesn't really say a lot of things. Allah seemed to have missed a lot of information out when he wrote his eternal and glorious book. His perfect and eternal word that explains everything in clear detail. So we'll have to go to a tafsir. So who we got here is Ibn Abbas, that's son of Abbas, cousin of the Prophet, who Muhammad said is the most qualified man to explain the Quran. And this is what son of Abbas came up with. And we sent unto them twain, two apostles. Apostles, not messengers. Apostles. Fine, let it go. Simon the Canaanite and Thomas. And they denied them both. So we reinforced them with a third. We strengthened them with Simon Peter, who confirmed the message conveyed to the other two apostles. And they said, Lo, we have been sent unto you. Simon the Canaanite, Simon the Zealot, Thomas, and Peter, We're actually Muslim messengers, guys. I don't know if you were ever fortunate enough to visit the Vatican City in Italy, um, and walk around and see inside St. Peter's Basilica. What you may not have known is that it's actually a mosque, because Simon Peter, the stone of the Christian Church, was actually a Muslim. Yeah, the first pope was a Muslim. Inside the Vatican City, there's a lot of statues of previous popes. Yeah, all Muslims. Simon Canaanite, Muslim. Thomas, Muslim. Saint Peter, Muslim. Oh my goodness. How can you trust Islamic scholars? How can you trust their books? I mean, this is the nonsense they come up with. Yeah, Ibn Abbas doesn't mention Paul, but he mentions Peter, Simon, and Thomas, which is already hilarious. But we're looking for Paul. We're not looking for these three. So who wrote about Paul? Well, Ibn Kathir wrote about Paul. If we go to verse 14 again, about the two messengers and the third, and we go into the Quran.com tafsirs and look at Ibn Kathir, we shall find, we shall not find anything. We don't have a tafsir for this ayah. Why not? Why not Quran.com? Why don't you have a tafsir for this ayah? You have a tafsir for the previous ayah. Yeah. Don't have a tafsir for the next ayah, or the next one, or the next one. No, you have it for this one. Why not? I guess an average Muslim reader would, open a tafsir to find an explanation for this verse, and he'll find nothing. And he would go, oh, okay, Ibn Kathir didn't mention it. Fine. So I guess he didn't write anything. Oh, wait, he did. Because if we go to QuranX.com and tafsirs of Ibn Kathir, we'll find the Quran verse commentary by Ibn Kathir about Surah 36, verse 13 to 17. And this is what Ibn Kathir wrote about verse 14. So we reinforced them with a third, means we supported and strengthened them with a third messenger. Ibn Jurayj narrated from Wahab al-Salaman, from Shu'aib al-Jabai. The names of the first two messengers were Shimun and Johanna, so Simon and John. And the name of the third was Bulus, and it was the city of Antioch. So Bulus, there it is. Bulus is actually Paul. Yeah, Bulus is Paul. There you go. So what do we have here? Simon the Canaanite, Simon the Zealot, Muslim. Thomas, Muslim. Peter, Muslim. John, Muslim. Paul, Muslim. Brilliant. I love it. All Muslim messengers. So there is a Gospel of Thomas. So if he was an Islamic messenger, so I guess the Gospel of Thomas is an Islamic book. We should look into it one day and see what it says, because yeah, it's quite it's quite hilarious. Islamic messengers, brilliant. People would say that, Muslims, when you present this information to them, they would say, oh no, Ibn Jurayj is not reliable, Wahab bin Sulaiman is not reliable, Ashaib al-Jabbar is not reliable, and Ibn Kathir doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, if Ibn Kathir doesn't know what he's talking about, then we can just dump all of his tafsirs into the bin. Why should we trust what Ibn Kathir says? Why should we trust any of it? If he's wrong about this, he's probably wrong about all the other stuff, a lot of other stuff. How can we trust son of Abbas, who says it was the third messenger was Peter, son Peter? How can we trust any of them? We don't have to trust them. I mean, we know it's all rubbish, but what do Muslims do with this information? Well, just pretend it's not there. Just sweep it under the rug. Yeah, bury your head in the sand and just go blah 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 blah. No, not listening, not listening. They're all liars. All of our scholars are liars, brother. Well, yeah, all of your scholars are liars. Allah is a liar. Muhammad is a liar. All of Islam is just built on lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Without lies, Islam dies. Yeah. Well, even if you do dismiss Ibn Kathir, he's not the only person who wrote about Paul. We also have al-Qurtubi, who wrote about Paul, and this is Tafsir al-Qurtubi. This is from Quran.ksu.education.sa. This is the official government website of Saudi Arabia. So if they're lying, if they're printing this information, then that's it. Islam cannot be trusted. Their scholars cannot be trusted with anything. But Ibn Kathir didn't actually write about Surah 36, verse 14. He wrote about Surah 61, verse 14. So Surah 61, let's go find it. 61 Al-Saf, verse 14. Let's see what it says. O you who have believed, be supporters of Allah, as when Jesus, the son of Mary, said to the disciples, "Who are my supporters for Allah?" The disciples said, "We are supporters of Allah, Takbir, Alhamdulillah, Wallahi, brother, Wallahi." And the faction of the children of Israel believed, and the faction disbelieved. So we supported those who have believed against their enemy, and they became dominant. Rawr. Yeah. So again, doesn't mention Paul, but let's see what al-Qurtubi wrote about this verse. So we're going to take all of this page, this Arabic page. We're going to copy it, boop, and we're going to put it into the trusted Google Translator. Paste. Let's see what it says. In the beginning, it's quite funny. The Almighty says, "O you who have believed, be the helpers of God, as Jesus, son of Mary, said to the disciples, 'Who are my helpers to God?' The disciples said, 'We are the helpers of God.' So a group of the children of Israel believed, and a group disbelieved. So we supported those who believed against their enemy. So they became victorious. Rawr. Confirmed the order of jihad." Islamic Jesus. Yeah. Forget the love your enemy. Forget turn the other cheek. Forget pray for those who persecute you. Jesus was actually pro-jihad, brother. Yeah. Jesus was pro-jihad, the Islamic Jesus. Yeah. Confirm the order of jihad. What are you smoking? That is, be the disciples of your prophet, so that God will make you victorious over those who oppose you, just as he showed the disciples of Jesus over those who opposed them. And Ibn Kathir, Abu Amr, and Nafi recited, "Ansar Allah with Tanween." They said, because it means prove that be God's helpers with a sword against his enemies. Oh yeah, use your sword. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. But, you know, that's a corrupt message. Love your enemies is a corrupt message. Turn the other cheek is a corrupt message. Pray for those who persecute you is a corrupt message. The true message is jihad, brother. That's Islam. That's Islam. Use your sword against your enemy. Don't love them. Don't pray for them. Use your bloody sword. This is what Islam teaches. But let's get to the bit that is relevant, that is germane to our discussion here. It's right in the end here. And it was said, this verse was revealed about messengers of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him. Ibn Ishaq said, it was those who were sent by Jesus among the disciples and followers of Peter and Paul to Rome, and Andreas as he walked to the land whose people ate people. So this message was from disciples of Jesus and followers of Peter and Paul to Rome. So al-Qurtubi mentions Paul and Peter. and Ibn Ishaq mentions Paul and Peter. So we have two here, Ibn Ishaq and al-Qurtubi who mention Paul, and we have Ibn Kathir who mentions Paul, that's 3, and Ibn Kathir mentions Ibn Jurayj, that's 4, he mentions Wahab bin Sulaiman, that's 5, and Shuaib al-Jabai, that's 6. 6 Islamic scholars mention Paul as a disciple and messenger of the Islamic Jesus. But Paul's a liar, brother! He's a liar! Oh my dear. So if Paul's a liar, and he's a messenger of the Islamic Jesus, my goodness. So everyone's a liar in Islam, really. Without lies, Islam dies. So there you have it. Nice and short. That will be the end of the first episode of WallahiLeaks. And yeah, there'll be more to come. See you soon.